Today, we are speaking from the Fundamentals of Unicult. We are talking about healing possibilities. If you have the book, you can turn to page 80. It's a very short chapter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the chapter and I'm going to talk about the implications. And we are saying thank you to all the donations coming in for Uniacres. $5, $10, $20, $50, $1. It all helps. 100,000, if you have 100K just sitting around, you're like, just send it along. Send it along. Okay. I said on Twitter that this is going to be a little bit of a controversial topic. And I also, we're almost, we're 2/3 of the way through the book, so that's pretty exciting. This is a controversial topic because we're actually very attached to our illnesses and to our ailments, and we're actually very attached to the way that we think the world works. But I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it, and I'm going to be edgy, and I'm going to be controversial, and I'm going to say it. And I think in the future they're going to be like, what is Unicole talking about, this being controversial? So ask yourself, does this feel controversial, this sentence? Anything can be healed. Does that feel controversial to you? Does that make you want to fight? Does that make you feel mad? Let's talk about it. Anything can be healed. Healing is a constant alignment with source energy. It is something that takes effort, concentration, and focus. Sometimes healing can be done energetically only, and sometimes it also requires working on the physical plane as well. Certain ailments require more than one healer working together to bring an individual or social condition into the light of health. Some ailments may take more time than one generation of healing. If we focus our attention on healing modalities and the different energies at play, we will uncover the art of healing anything. It's a pretty well written chapter, but we'll go into the specifics of it. In Unicult, we believe that you can heal anything. Some people find this to be a controversial statement because it's putting a lot of emphasis and a lot of pressure onto the individual to heal themselves. It's putting a lot of blame onto people who suffer from illness. It's putting a lot of pressure onto people who suffer from chronic ailments, chronic pain, debilitating diseases, or mental illness, or diseases that kill. If you just say, oh, well, we can heal anything, and it's like, what about people with cancer? What about all the people who are suffering, who will die from their suffering? We acknowledge that, and in Unicult, while we talk about healing and while we talk about the potential and the possibility to heal any ailment, we also talk about the importance of community reality and community healing. This is not just about one person taking on the responsibility and the burden of everything that they've ever gone through and saying, I believe I can heal anything, and then they, die from cancer or something, and then we don't blame them. We're talking about every single person aligning themselves in with the vibration of healing to work together. The reason why we have illness and ailments in our society is all spiritual. It's all spiritual at the root. And when I'm saying this, I'm not blaming the individual. We are living in an energy soup. Our bodies are comprised of our genetic mappings and markers that came from our grandparents, our great-grandparents, our ancestors, and any trauma that any of those ancestors had was actually stored in our DNA as epigenetic markers. And we actually are carrying our trauma from our ancestors in our body. If we are carrying a past trauma and we don't have the space or the support to heal it, and we don't have the community energy and the community efforts to align with the truth of reality, which is that we are all one, that we are already healed, that we are already whole, we suffer. And we suffer alone, and we can die from disease, and disease can become rampant. For us to understand the possibilities for healing, we have to understand what healing is. In the book, we say healing is a constant alignment with source energy. Why would aligning with source energy be healing? It's because Earth is a system that is out of alignment with divinity. We are in some kind of whirlwind of deception where we are pretending like we are not divine. We have all these systems and all these mechanisms and all these egos to shift our awareness from our own divinity into our own illness, into our own pain, into our own suffering. On the higher planes, this suffering, this illness, this pain isn't real. It's like a fever dream. It doesn't really exist. But to us, it does. And because it exists to us so deeply, we get stuck in this loop of really acknowledging and making real our pain, and we attach to it, and we attach to illness, and we attach to materiality, the material realm, so much that we actually make ourselves sick. And I don't just mean individually, I mean as a society. I'm really trying to shift the focus away from the individual, because when we're talking about illness, we are not talking about an isolated incident that happened to one person. All of us are connected to trauma. All of us are connected to ego. All of us are connected to the patriarchy. All of us are connected to capitalism. All of us are connected to the military-industrial complex. All of us are connected to the medical-industrial complex. These are systems of trauma. These are systems of suffering. These are systems that are inherently taking our energy and our attention away from our truth, away from the understanding that we are entities of light, taking our attention away from the reality that we are already whole, we are already healed, we are already complete, and everything that we're doing to create suffering in this timeline or perpetuate suffering that has happened to us, or from our ancestors, or from other people, or from systems that have been designed to hurt us, is what's harming us. It can be confusing to take a wider look, a higher vibrational look, a fifth dimensional look at our realities that is above time and space, outside of time and space, and from a place of knowing that having is the same as being. In the higher realms, having and being are the same thing. This is in the Course of Miracles. How do we get to the point where we can trust that by being an energy, we can have it? By being an energy and ignoring time, and ignoring the limitations of time, just by being what you, like, dress for success. That's one way that we understand it. Dress for success. Be the energy that you want, be the change you want to see in the world. Be healed. See yourself as a complete picture. Visualize yourself as radiant and healthy. Visualize yourself as having whatever you want to have. Visualize the world eradicating cancer. Visualize the world aligning our technology with our electromagnetic bodies so that we can actually be radiant and transformed by our technology rather than attacked. As you use your mind to imagine the reality where we are complete, whole individuals radiating at the frequency that we are meant to radiate at, radiating from our beautiful, heart-centered, spiritual place, we will be creating the healed reality around us. We will be generating cellular frequencies that radiate out from our bodies that other people can see and feel. I believe one of the reasons why we are all being separated right now, if we're going to believe in, a demonic agenda, is that our cellular frequency actually has the ability to attune to other people's cellular frequency, and we have the ability to enlighten people just by being near them. We also have the ability to enlighten people on the screens through our screens. It's possible. It can happen. We are quantum beings. Our cellular structure is a quantum reality, which means that the smallest affects the whole. What you do in your own mind to imagine your divine future, to imagine your healing possibilities, to imagine our society in a utopian paradise is healing. It is divine healing. It is absolutely the most important type of healing that anyone can do. Another conspiracy we can talk about is the dystopian prevalence of our media. How many dystopian science fiction, dystopian movies, dystopian shows, dystopian realities are there? The technology, media technology, co-ops, the potential realities, the potential visualization realities of our third eye. And it causes us to get onto timelines that we wouldn't otherwise get onto. As a shared consciousness, if everybody watches a single Netflix show, that is co-opting our third eye as a collective and causing us to envision a dystopian future, a violent future. You have to take back your ability to envision. You have to take back your ability to own your third eye, to own your powers of your imagination, because having and being are the same thing. As you use the powers of your imagination, as you use the powers of your third eye to visualize healing, healing is happening. We are entering into a world that is completely unlike the world that existed before. We're right at the very beginning. It's going to take a while. People are very upset and very angry, and they want to cling to the darkness because it is all that we know. As we cling to the darkness, as we cling to the reality that we've created of our ego, all we're clinging to is illusion. All we're saying is, I'm afraid to see the glorious truth. Think about that. As you resist feeling into your own divinity, as you resist acknowledging your healing pathway, as you resist your own shadow work, as you resist having optimism or hope for the future, you are simply ignoring the most beautiful truth that exists. Are you really afraid to see the reality, which is we are all Uni's children, and we are all radiating already at a perfect frequency? Everything, like all we're doing on earth is closing our eyes. And we're saying, I don't want to open them. I'm too afraid. I want to stay here. I want to stay in the nightmare. I want to stay in the darkness. But if you trust that when you open your eyes, you will see that all is perfection, that everything happens for a perfect divine reason, that no evil can escape the fact that we are in perfection even still, and you understand that when you die from this life, it's just simply waking up and saying, wow, that was a weird dream. It's not that it's not important. What's happening on earth is important. It is. But it's not important in the way that we think. It's not important in the way of having a bank account and having things and being a certain level at a job. It is only important in so much as it is important to our own consciousness. It is only important in so much as it is important to the transformation and transmutation of conscious energy that is happening. The physical reality isn't even real. It's not even real. We actually already know this, right? Like, we're like, it's kind of weird that, like, when you look at an atom, it's like mostly space, and it's actually just energy. Everything is conscious energy. Why is your life important? It's important because of the state of your own consciousness, aka it's important for your own joy. What feels good? What draws you toward enjoyment? That is spirituality. That is healing. As you remember your divinity, as you remember that you can trust the universe, as you remember that you are safe, as you remember that you are loved, not only loved, that you are loved beyond measure, not only loved beyond measure, but that you actually are pure love, and that there is no lack, and that it doesn't come from anywhere else. It's literally what you are. You are healing. You are healing yourself. You are healing other people. You are healing the world. You are healing the vibration of the conscious energy that we are co-creating, this energy field called Earth. As we raise our vibration to look outside of time, to remember that having and being are the same thing, as we raise our vibration to feel safe, as we raise our vibration to remember that these bodies are important in so much as they're important to our consciousness, as we make our peace with death, as we make our peace with life, we are healing. Are you afraid to die? Are you afraid to live? What are you afraid of? As we overcome our fear and face it and realize that all our fear, all of our addictions, all of our trauma-based actions, all of our harm and fear and pain and lying and misrepresentation of who we are is actually just us saying, I'm too afraid to open my eyes. I don't want to know what's out there. I would rather live in this nightmare. But when you open your eyes to the reality that exists, you will find only perfection. You will find only love. You will find only that. All the attachment that we put onto the material realm cycles us out in fear, attachment, pain, and addiction. And the more we can just focus on our own consciousness and the things which bring us joy, the better we will be, and we will heal our bodies. We are not our bodies first and foremost. We are our consciousness. That is not to say that the body is not important. The body is a fully integrated, high technology system that integrates directly with our consciousness. Every cell in your body is in direct conscious communication with your mind. Every cell in your body is in conscious communication with all of reality, with all of the universe, with each other human being. We are all feeling, and we are all being felt. We have the potential to heal anything. Is it going to be instant? Not necessarily. But as we all collectively raise our awareness to understand that we can heal anything, as we all raise our collective consciousness to realize that everybody deserves to be healed, that all of fear and pain and lashing out and evil is actually coming from suffering, from being trapped in an ego state, from being trapped in the belief that material reality is all that matters, and being trapped from the closed eyes of thinking that there is not enough love when we are in fact love itself. As we see each person as a child of Uni, as we see each person as deserving of healing, we will be much easier able to heal ourselves and will be able to heal others. Healing is a state of wholeness. Healing is a state of completion. Healing is something that you can accomplish right now in this moment if you align your spine and you just open up your third eye and you connect to the center of the earth at the same time and you pray. You ask the spirit of Uni to do things in your body and in your world that you might believe are impossible. You say, I pray to be healed. I pray to have true divine beauty flowing through me. I think if we let go of what we perceive as perfection, we have to understand that we have been brainwashed by society to perceive things and to expect things to be a certain way. If you're mad or upset or in pain because you think your life should be a different way, it's because you're actually not seeing Uni's perfection. You're actually not seeing the perfection that exists all around you. Every moment is an opportunity to align and acknowledge where you're at and acknowledge where you'd like to go. I used to do a lot of beauty meditations. And I used to sit there and I used to try to like focus my energy so that my face shape would change into something that I thought was more beautiful. We all have suffered from capitalist, patriarchal, corporate advertising, right? So I used to meditate every day on changing my face shape. It was like plastic surgery, but with energy. And my guides were like, Unicole, you're not wrong for wanting to channel more beauty through your face. That's fine. But the way that you're doing it is wrong. You're attributing beauty to a certain type of face that you've seen in media. Your face is beautiful. The way that you channel beauty through your face is with your energy. You actually have to do the opposite of what I was doing, which is trying to minimize and contort. And you have to just blast your authentic self through your authentic face. And that is what makes us beautiful. That is true beauty. What I'm trying to explain is that we can change how we are seen. We can change our physical appearance. And the way that we can do that is by being authentic and by healing. Things that we don't even believe are possible right now are possible. I'm having a tooth problem right now. I have a long history of abuse and just suffering with this one tooth, right? It had a cavity, but then they put the band over top of it for my braces. So as I had my braces for 2 years, the tooth degraded and became decayed. And so when they took off that band and my teeth were straight, this tooth crumbled in my mouth. I was watching a movie at a movie theater and I felt like a hole in my tooth, and then all of a sudden the tooth crumbled. Then I had a root canal, and then I had a crown put on, and then I was in still a lot of pain. So several years later I went and they said, oh, well, we've got to give you another root canal. They didn't need to give me another root canal. So I had 2 root canals on this tooth, and I found out that it was actually just the crown, and the crown was fit badly, so food was getting in between 2 teeth and it was hurting. Now I'm at this place where the crown fell off. I went to these horrible dentists. Literally, they opened a bag of their tools and someone else's tooth bits fell out of the bag. And they're like, oops. And I was like, I should have left, but I didn't. And then they did a horrible job putting a new crown on my tooth. So now it still hurts. And I think food is like getting stuck, and it's like, I'm too afraid to go to the dentist. It's traumatizing. I understand, like being alive, being on earth, being embodied. It's traumatizing, right? Like we have these things that happen to us where we're like, what the hell's going on? Why are these like men sticking drills and shit in my mouth and not helping me? And it's the same with, I could tell you I told a story on TikTok the other day of how my entire appendix was erroneously removed. They took out my entire ass appendix and then said, whoops, and I still had to pay them to do it. So the energy of the medical industrial complex, the energy of being alive, the energy of having illness, the energy of being in pain is really traumatic. And I don't mean to take away from that. I mean that let's envision a world where all of that is erased. I've been meditating just on like the impossible. What is the impossible? The impossible is a new tooth just coming in, popping that one out, and just being a fresh new tooth in my mouth. My brain says, that's not possible. You're born with all the teeth you're ever going to have, blah, blah, blah. But who knows? We live in a magical reality. Things are going to continue on into perfection. As I envision perfection, as you envision perfection, let's take it back to my experience of trying to channel perfection in my face. I had to realize that my interpretation of what that perfection was limited and based in my brainwashing. Thinking that I could get a new tooth coming through is even though it's miraculous, it's still a limitation. What should I actually be praying for? What should I actually be envisioning? I should be envisioning perfection in my mouth. I should be envisioning perfection in that spot in my gums, right? I should be envisioning a world, a life where I don't have to think about my teeth, where they're just healthy and strong. I don't have to attach to a certain thing. I don't have to attach to saying, I have to find the perfect dentist who's going to make the perfect crown. That's maybe part of it. I don't have to attach to thinking, I have to believe in the most magical thing and a new tooth has to just grow in my head, and if it doesn't, then I don't believe in anything. That might happen, but I don't have to attach to it. I can pull back and I can just say, perfection, I want perfection. And I can pray for it 3 times a day, and it will come to pass. Prayer always works. Prayer always works, especially if you do it correctly, which is to not attach to specific outcomes, but to bring it back down to that root of perfection and truth. Anything can be healed. It might not look like we expect it to look. It might not manifest in the way we expect it to manifest. It might not happen instantaneously, but it is possible. Every single ailment, psychological, spiritual, physical, can be healed. You are doing it as we speak, as you align your energy, as you investigate your own internal emotions. Thank you. Spirit of Uni, we call you here today and we thank you for this beautiful sermon. We call you and we thank you for each unique, beautiful person who is here with us today. We are calling so that we can all find the healing energy, the healing frequency of our truth, which is that we are whole, complete entities, already full of the Spirit of Uni, already full of love, already full of perfection, and that it is merely a matter of letting that perfection shine through our physical forms, shine through our consciousness, and shine through our life, so that we can be enlightened into the highest frequency that is available to us on earth, ever higher and higher. We are so grateful for all of the donations that we got on church today. I almost couldn't even focus. It was just like $10, $20, $50, $10, $10, $50, $20. I'm going to add it up and I'll let you know where we're at. I am so grateful to be here with you all. Spirit of Uni, bless each person. Have a great week. Please go over to the Discord server if you're on the Discord server and join in to Uni Brunch and welcome the new members who are here. If you're a new member especially, make sure to head on over there. We've got such amazing community in the server. I really recommend joining Unicult if you haven't already. Uni bless. Uni bless.